In our last video, we explored Portsmouth, Virginia. We took a stroll along the beautiful waterfront, checked out the historic Old Town District, and checked out a local street fair. In this video,
we're in Rochester, New York.
For context, this was filmed over several days in late July 2025. This video is divided into 3 sections, and those times can be found in the description. Alright, in this section we're going to explore the downtown, kind of working our way between East Street and Monroe Street, zigzagging back and forth. Let's check it out.
Rochester has a current population of about 211,000, making it the 4th most populous city in New York. The Monroe Theater was built in 1927 as a stage theater. It was converted to movies in 1960 and closed in 2008. Monroe Square is an Art Deco building built in the 1920s as a combination of business and residential.
If you're new to our videos, we approach this without much of a game plan. We just find an interesting street and take off and explore. Check out these cool houses that we stumbled upon.
And part of our exploring took us to the Strange Bird Brewery, which opened in 2021.
Yeah, we were happy to see Rochester has a nice variety of breweries as well as coffee shops.
The glass building with the white roof is the National Toy Hall of Fame. Some inductees have included Barbie, Atari 2600, Legos, and Play-Doh. The Toy Hall of Fame is part of the Strong Museum of Play. It also includes the World Video Hall of Fame.
We found another brewery to check out to end a fantastic first day. And then it's on to the next section. Alright, it's the next morning. We got a little sidetracked yesterday by the Spotted Octopus and Strange Bird Brewing Companies. So it's the next morning. We're gonna grab some coffee. It's obviously a lot more overcast, but hopefully it won't be as hot. Yesterday was one of the hottest days of the year, apparently. And then we're gonna continue our exploration of the downtown. Let's do it. For context, we're now on East Street, working our way to the heart of the downtown.
The Little Theater shown here was founded in 1929, and it is the oldest art house cinema in the United States. This cool Art Deco building was built in 1937 and served as a Chevy dealership until 1991. Christ Episcopal Church shown here was built in 1855. Such a cool church.
This section of downtown had quite a few residential buildings.
Here's the Rochester Gas and Electric Building, built in 1922. This is the Eastman School of Music, part of the University of Rochester, founded in 1921 by George Eastman. And here's the Eastman Theater, opened in 1922.
And yes, that's the same Eastman of the Eastman Kodak Company, who had a big influence on this town. And in fact, his residence is something we'll see a little bit later in the video.
This building opened in 1928 as an office building for many Catholic organizations. It included a 75-foot swimming pool, Turkish bath, gymnasium, ballroom, and 3,000-seat auditorium. The tall building on the right is the Temple Building. It opened in 1925. Initially, it was supposed to be a 9-story church, but it evolved into a 14-story building with a large sanctuary and office space for rent. Now it's a theater and event space along with residential lofts. This building is Sibley's. It was a prominent department store dating back to the 1860s. This location opened in 1904 and became their flagship. Unfortunately, it closed in 1990, but it is now Sibley Square, mixed use with apartments, offices, and retail since 2016.
You'll see a lot of street art throughout this video. If you enjoy that kind of stuff like we do, there's a dedicated section towards the end.
This is the First Universalist Church, which opened in 1908, and across the street from the church is Washington Square Park. The Jiva Theater was originally built in 1864 as a convention hall. It was purchased by the Jiva Theater Group in 1982.
And here's just a little glimpse of the inside since we did attend one of their performances.
This is St. Mary's Catholic Church, which was built in 1858. This is the Bosch and Lomb Building, now called the Legacy Tower. It is the second tallest building in Rochester.
And at this point, we're just about to cross into what was my favorite part of this historic downtown.
Blue Cross Arena opened in 1955. It's been home to the Rochester Americans hockey team since 1956. This is the Aqueduct Building, built in 1882. It sits at the intersection of the Erie Canal and the Genesee River. The building across the street is the Gannett Newspaper Building, built in 1927. And here's the Times Square Building, built in 1929. The sculpture on top is called Wings of Progress. This is the old City Hall, opened in 1889 as a federal building. Now it houses the city government. This is the Academy Building. It was originally a high school, opened in 1873. Now it is renovated for mixed use and luxury lofts. The Bevier Memorial Building was built in 1910 as the School of Art and Design. The Brewster Burke House was built in 1849, and it is right next door to the Jonathan Child House. They are both part of a historic district. This one was built in 1837.
According to the town's website, both of those buildings are being renovated into apartments.
This railroad depot dates back to 1877.
And this street art depicts Frederick Douglass, Susan B. Anthony, and a founding father of Rochester.
This town was incorporated in 1817 as the village of Rochesterville, and then became the city of Rochester in 1834. It's known as the Flower City, F-L-O-U-R, and the Flower City, F-L-O-W-E-R, for its dual role in flower production and floriculture.
And like many cities we visited, the downtown has an interesting mix of old and new. And here's another look at the Wings of Progress.
This building is the Reynolds Arcade, built in 1932. This is the Convention Center, which opened in 1985. Renovations began in 2024, and it's scheduled to reopen in 2026.
The hotel immediately opposite the convention center is currently in disrepair but scheduled to be renovated into mixed-use building. that said, looks like it's time for our next section.
In this section, we'll be checking out the waterfront, the Genesee River Trail, and the High Falls area.
And here's a better view of the hotel that was located directly across from the convention center.
Now we're walking on the Genesee Riverway Trail, which is a 24-mile trail linking 9 historic districts. Rochester is one of the first boom towns in the U.S. due to the Genesee River, which gave rise to numerous flour mills and then became a manufacturing center. It is actually the birthplace or home to many companies, including Eastman Kodak, Xerox, Bosch & Lomb, and Western Union.
And here you get a good look at the Kodak building. Right next to the Kodak Tower is their minor league baseball stadium. We did check out a game, and here's a few pictures so you can see what it looks like from the inside.
Now we're in the High Falls area. Historically, it was important as an industrial area because it was powered by the falls. What's really cool is you can do a self-guided walking tour. There's placards on the buildings and even QR codes you can scan for more information.
Yes, this area is an absolute must-see for anybody visiting Rochester.
You can see it says Brown's Race Market on this building. Brown's Race refers to the section where water is diverted from the falls and was used for the flour mills and other industries.
And of course, we had to check out the falls.
Today, the falls generate hydroelectric power.
The building across this walking bridge is actually the Genesee Brewing Company, and of course, a place that we checked out before we left the area.
Again, here's the Kodak Tower, which was completed in 1914, and it was the tallest building in Rochester until the 60s. It was headquarters to the Kodak Company.
Here you have another view of the falls from a little closer vantage point.
So this was originally the site of the Aqueduct Spring Brewery, established in 1819, but in 1878 it became the Genesee Brewing Company.
Great view, great beer, great food, and a must-see if you visit Rochester. With that said, looks like it's time for our final section.
In this section, we're in the neighborhood of the Arts District, so we're going to check out some of the museums and some of the beautiful historic homes. And the first home we see is George Eastman's home and museum. George Eastman developed the first roll film and first Kodak camera in 1888, which made photography accessible to the general population. Now we're moving through the rest of this residential area, which had beautiful homes.
This section of town is known as the Neighborhood of the Arts.
And this area is home to several museums in addition to the Eastman Home and Museum. A little history of Rochester. It's located on the southern shore of Lake Ontario and was named for Colonel Nathaniel Rochester, who was a Revolutionary War soldier. It's home to several universities, including the University of Rochester and the Rochester Institute of Technology. Now, we were there when they were having record high temperatures, but they average 100 inches of snowfall per year, so beware in the winter. This site was the home of Frederick Douglass from 1848 to 1851. It was an important stop on the Underground Railroad. The Grand Alexander is an Art Deco building built in the 1930s.
It was great to see a lot of these old buildings are still in use, most as apartments, but we decided we wanted to take a deeper dive and check out the residential homes, so that's what we're going to see here. Like its sister city, Buffalo, which we visited earlier this year, the residential sections near downtown did not disappoint. Coming up, we have the street art section we referenced earlier in the video, and then we'll return with our final thoughts on our visit to Rochester. All right, what'd you think of Rochester?
I really liked Rochester. It has such a cool historical downtown, and they're doing a lot of renovation here, so it seems like it's up and coming, and they're doing a lot of revitalization. I really liked it.
Yeah, northern New York is kind of awesome. I didn't know I'd like it as much as I do, but I think these are great cities. They have enough of that old history, and the buildings are mostly intact and being used. And like she said, there's definitely some renovations going on, so that means it seems like it's going to be alive for generations to come. So I love this, just like I love Buffalo. I guess Syracuse has to be on the short list too, because this is a pretty cool place. I give it a thumbs up.
Me too.
All right, get off the couch. See you next time.
Cheers.